When I'm boring?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Mark is here for you today, and again, we are videotaping this, and it'll go up on my YouTube as well as on the P drive for other students. So I'll just let you tell your story.
Great. Most of it's true, too. So this is meant to start here with Dundee Venture Capital. This is what I'm doing today. And if you need to reach me, or you have a question or something dawns on you later and you want to get in touch with me, all you got to do is just come here. All my contact info is there. I'm easily accessible. I really do and truly enjoy meeting with students, undergrad and grad students, and helping them in any way I can. And it's not just a solicitous kind of thing. I just truly do enjoy that, and engaging and helping you, particularly if you're going to start your own business. The reason for that is, so this would have been 1980. It's a long time ago. But I was sitting where a lot of you guys were sitting, and my roommate and I wanted to go to Padre Island. Anybody know where Padre Island is? Anybody been there? Even better? Okay. Louis' backyard? Louis' backyard. Are you familiar with Louis' backyard?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyway, we wanted to go to Padre. We had no money. We came up with an idea, and it was to sell moccasins. And we were going to sell moccasins to sorority girls on campus. He's from Gordon, Nebraska. So Gordon is where there's a Native American reservation. He comes back one time with these purple moccasins. I was like, those are really cool. I'll bet the girls on campus would love these things. So why don't we go around, and we literally knocked on doors. Open the door. We got these really cool moccasins. You guys want to try some on? Oh, they're cool. Yeah, come on in. Great way to meet girls. A little awkward, but still a great way to meet girls. We sold so many pairs, blue and red and yellow and green moccasins. And this was kind of a fad back then, that this was something that people really wanted. So we had a supplier out on the reservation who sent these to us. We delivered them. We got paid. We made enough to go to Padre Island. We had an objective. Here's how much we need. Check. Made it. It was really fulfilling, exciting, fun to have our own little company. We called it Board Feet. So, you know, not too creative, I know. But still, we go down to Padre, had a great time. We drive back. We pull in the driveway. In front of our fraternity house, there's 11 girls standing there. And we turned to each other and said, I mean, we're rich. This is awesome. People are waiting to buy moccasins from us. Open the door, this girl's walking up to me, and she's pointing at me like this. Not a very happy look on her face. I said, what's going on? She goes, look. I look down, her feet are purple. Her feet, not the shoes, her feet are purple. The dye from the moccasins had soaked through because her feet got wet. And they stained them, and she couldn't get it off. And there's another girl with red, with yellow. They were all from the same sorority, and they were really mad. And so the rule number one that we had then was, okay, we better know our supplier. We clearly didn't know who our supplier was. We just assumed that this was a fundamental. We call him, we go, dude, what's going on here? Everybody's feet are purple and green and yellow and whatnot. He's like, well, you're not supposed to get them wet. Doesn't anybody tell you that? You know, duh, it's not my problem. Okay, so now whose problem is it? Anybody got an idea? Mine, yeah. We had to refund all the money. We had to either replace the shoes or get them with ones that didn't stain. We had a huge problem. We had spent all our money in Padre. We had, as I remember, $3.18 in the bank account. So we had to scramble, we had to borrow, we had to steal and beg and do everything we could to refund the money, number one. Number two, to replace the ones that were defective. Huge lesson, huge lesson. Didn't know our supplier, ran out of cash. If you're ever going to start a business, don't run out of cash. And so, but it ignited something in me to start my own company. It was just something really cool that I knew I was going to do again. But all of a sudden, here I was a senior. Who are seniors in here? You all have jobs? Anybody?
Like currently or like set up?
Set up for like career jobs.
Kind of.
Good. Good. So I kind of know the fear maybe that's going on inside of you right now, if you don't have something. I got to spring semester and thought, wow, this has been 3.5 years of a lot of fun. I need to maybe think about getting a job. No jobs, none available, tough time, tough economy, similar to what you guys are going through. Heard about this thing at First National Bank in Omaha, it was a training program. They were training people to be bankers. So I went to First National and said, that's me. You know, I'm cut out for this, I'm perfect. Already filled the class, thank you, no room. Literally sat in the lobby, waited for the HR guy to come by every morning. Hey, it's me again. How you doing? It's like, God, you're so annoying. Look, we don't have any room. Are you not listening? No room. Kept after him, kept calling people all over the bank, kept interviewing with people. Did I lie a couple times? Yeah. Said, well, look, I talked to the vice president of the retail over here, and he's really interested in hiring me. I just want to go through the training program. Well, let me put in a good word for you, the training program. Finally, the guy leading the training program, enough. Join us, okay? If you're that persistent, we'll hire you. You'll come on. So persistence. I mean, I don't know if there's a fine line between persistence and annoyance, but anyway, persistence. I got in there, training program, loved it, learned everything about banking. Cash comes in, cash goes out, so forth, so on. Ended up in the credit department. Credit department analyzes loans. I mean, it's not real exciting, but you analyze loans financially. We did not have computers back then. That's how old I am. No computers. We did everything manually, everything by hand. And so you had to learn how to do all the ratio calculations, spread all the historical numbers and do projections all by hand. And my spreadsheets had more whiteout on them than any spreadsheets. Who knows what even whiteout is? Anybody even use that stuff? Oh good, it's still around. The officer would come up to me, the lending officer, and go, you know, what is this? Why, well, there's whiteout everywhere. I mean, come on. You know, and you learn from your mistakes. Just keep it doing over and over and over. But what I wasn't realizing is that I was learning these companies from the inside out. Really tearing them apart, looking at the financial statements, understanding trends. Look at this, something's going on here. This trend is changing, this one's improving, this one's going down. Working with the lending officer, learning, meeting with the people of the companies, starting to realize this is kind of cool, I want to be part of a business. I then became a lending officer, loaning money to businesses. And the first thing that they taught us was to say no. Seriously. I mean, that was part of the culture. You've got to say no to these guys. It has to be a pristine loan for us to make it. Because it's really risky for banks to make loans. And I understand that today. But it was frustrating at the time because I wanted to help these companies. And so it got to be just a little bit too slow for me. And I jumped into natural transition, the popcorn business. Isn't that a natural transition? Not at all. I met a guy who had a little popcorn shop. He moved to Arizona. I bought it from him, and my wife and I got into the popcorn business. This would have been 1984, 85. Long time ago. We opened 5 little boutique popcorn shops. Really fun. Got to know all the customers, face-to-face, very retail-based business. And overnight, a competitor came and started to sell the identical product that we made, but in a grocery store. And so what we had was this fun little neighborhood business type thing that was getting killed in about a 36-hour period by a competitor who just came in and went to Albertsons and Baker's and No Frills and all these guys and beat us to the punch. We never even saw it coming. We were that naive. We just thought people were going to buy ready-to-eat popcorn forever from a little shop. All of a sudden it was like, wait a second, you mean I can get my groceries, I can get this really great popcorn and just go home. I don't have to get out of my car, go in, buy the popcorn, get back in my car. It was too clunky. Convenience. You know, listen to your customers. So overnight we became competitors with each other. We had to now sell into grocery stores and learn how to do that. Oftentimes I get undergrad and some grad students say, well, that's like the best thing that I could do right out of college. And my advice is to sell something. Learn how to sell something. I didn't realize it. I didn't know how to sell. But I had to go now and sell to a grocer. Grocers don't have offices. You don't go in and sit down and say, how's your family? Is everything going? I think of the weather. How about those Huskers, huh? It's like the grocer is walking up and down the aisles. There's a produce buyer, there's a snack buyer, there's a meat buyer. And you got to find them. And you got to tap them on the shoulder. Here's my product. Popcorn. I don't need popcorn. Get out of here. That's how it happens. It's that fast. You gotta find them again. It's just, look, here's my product. Okay, here's what I'll sell it to you for. Here's how much your cost is. Here's your margin. And you gotta be able, in your head, this goes back to then doing the analysis that I did at First National. The credit department was, okay, wait a second. I need 30% margin. I need 10 cases. I want you to do an end cap. I want you to do promotions on Saturdays. What's my cost? You got to be able to do that pretty quickly. First 20 times I did it, failed miserably, and did get thrown out a lot. You know, and admit it, I went to the car and cried. I'd never been more humiliated in my life. But a guy about my age at the time was the buyer at Albertsons. He's like, you don't know what you're doing. You are clueless. You know your pricing. You know your margins. Get out of my store. I've never had anybody talk to me like that. And if you've ever been through something like that in your life, you either respond one way or the other. Either pick yourself up and you say, all right, I'm going again. Or you say, I'm out of this business. There's really not much in between. I didn't have a choice, so I jumped back in the car, went back, did the math, rehearse, went back in, got the sale. Okay, knew the stuff, knew the pricing, was able to do all the demos. I was one of those annoying people in the grocery store that would say, would you like to try some popcorn? Loser. In fact, saw some friends from college. Like, yeah, doing well, Mark. That's great. Apron, complete dork. You know, but you got to do what you got to do. Got into Albertsons all of a sudden. And got into Baker's. Got into No Frills. Got into, what's the guy down here? Russ's. Then we sold into Des Moines. Then we started trucking product out to Denver, Kansas City, Chicago, into Minneapolis, into the big chains. And then we got approached by a company that wanted to buy us. So this is cool. This is a big business. We like it. We'd like to buy it. My first experience with a merger, acquisition kind of thing. These guys bought us. I worked for them for about 6 weeks. I just was not a good employee. I realized I was a better owner than I was an employee. And met a guy that was starting at a little investment bank at the time, Mike McCarthy. To date, probably the smartest guy I've ever known. And my mentor. If anybody can have a mentor like this guy, I tell you, it really changed my career trajectory. So Mike was starting this thing. He wanted to help Midwest-based companies access capital, sell their business, manage their money, buy other companies, you know. And I spent 12 years with Mike doing a lot of the sell-side work, selling companies. So you got a company, you come to me, we value your business, we put a book together, put a package together, go out to the marketplace, and we would sell it. And you get a fee for that. And some years it was feast, and other years it was famine. But it was just great work. But in the late 90s, I met a guy that was starting a company called giftcertificates.com, online selling of gift certificates. Doug Nielsen, best sales marketing guy I've ever met. My finance background, his sales and marketing, his sister Julie, most creative person I've known. So over the span of like 4 or 5 years, I met some really, really talented people. And Doug, Julie, and I started this company, giftcertificates.com. This was in the heyday of the late 90s when a lot of .com businesses were just exploding. We raised a whole bunch of money. We lost control of our business. We had filed to go public. We were reaching for the brass ring, and it just all collapsed. So we violated the cardinal rule, you know, don't lose control. We raised way more money than we needed. We had no say in the day-to-day anymore. I mean, if there was a checklist, I mean, if you had a checklist, here's the dumb things to do when you start a business, okay? And Mark's done 99.5 of 100. We pretty much made a lot of mistakes. But fate did come knocking. We sat down, Doug, Julie, and I, we put a plan together, we took it to the board, and we said, this is what the company should look like. Let's get out of New York. We had offices in the World Trade Center, 47th and the 48th floor. Crazy. We had billboards in Times Square. Sophie Loren was our spokesperson. We had 400 employees all over the country. I mean, it was nutty. We just said, let's shrink this thing down, let's bring it back to Nebraska. Let's make it a real cash flow positive business. And they just kind of said, hey, cool, that's great, we got it. You guys can just go on your way if you don't agree with where we're going. All right, we're out of here. It's just not going to work. We were beat up. September 11th had happened. We were tired. The phone rings. Doug had left. Julie had left. I was literally on my last day. Company, pouring rain. Nobody's answering the phone. It's like, God, somebody get the lousy phone. All right, gift certificates, can I help you? Hey, this is Dave Fairley. I'm calling from Yelm, Washington. I got this little business. I want to be an affiliate. Does anybody know what an affiliate or affiliate marketing means? Just basically if he refers a sale to gift certificates and they happen to buy, he gets a commission. Yeah, I put him on speaker. I'm like, great, this is the last thing I want to be doing right now, is talking to this guy. But I'm seriously cleaning my desk out, stuff in boxes. Okay, Dave, tell me about your company. My company's hammocks.com. I just kind of went, oh man, that sounds great. I would love to lay in a hammock right now. What do you mean hammocks.com? And we sell hammocks. My wife and I go down to Mexico. We buy all these little hammocks. We sell them on corners at trade fairs and stuff like that. And I got a little website. And I pull it up. It was horrible. Little tiny pictures. You scroll down. I mean, it was just forever. Just go down. Old hammock. Green hammock. Yellow hammock. Red hammock. Investment banking hat and radar was going off. I was like, so what do you want to do with this thing, Dave? Oh, I want to build a drum studio in my basement. That's what I want to do. That's his motivation. So it's back to like the spring break thing. His motivation, drum studio. Where are you going to get the cash for that? I don't know. Well, why don't you sell your company? Well, I'd love to, but I mean, who would buy a hammock business? I hang up, I called Doug. Seriously, it's been like 18 hours. He was going to take 6 months off. I said, Doug, I got the next deal. What? Hammocks.com. I'm in. Let's do it. We buy this thing, we bring it back to Omaha. It's a tiny little deal, fit in this room. And we're just going to have fun with it until we found real jobs. And Google AdWords was just starting to take off. So Google AdWords, you know, you buy a keyword. It helps with your placement of your website. We're like, okay, let's buy a bunch of keywords. Let's take the old site down. Let's make it more colorful, make it easy to navigate, blah, blah, blah. We put our new site up, and sales were up day one, 300%. I said, okay, hold on, wait a sec. Something's going on here. Something unusual. We had no clue, but something big was happening. Next day, same thing. Next day, same thing. Okay, people were going to Google. They were looking for this product. It was coming to our website. We had what they wanted. They were buying. It was simple. I'm talking to a customer about a week later. He goes, hey, I need some hanging gear. You guys sell that? Hanging gear. So I'm like, what do you mean by hanging gear? And he says, well, you know, look, I got to hang it from my back of my porch, and I just don't, how do I hang it? I said, well, if you had hanging gear, what kind would you want? Well, like chains or something. I was like, oh, perfect. So we go to Lowe's, we buy up all the chains we can find, and we're selling hanging gear for the hammocks. Natural, right? Cross-sell. Duh. But I'm just about to hang up, and he goes, hey, hold on. You guys sell porch swings? What do you mean? Porch swings. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for a porch swing. I cover the phone. Doug, porch swings. You know, have you heard GoDaddy for domain registration? I can't remember the name of it back then. He looks it up, porch swings. It's available. He buys it. It's $7. We're now in the porch swing business. So what kind of porch swing would that be if you wanted one? I don't know. Oak? Perfect. When do you want it by? Oh, I don't need it for like 2 weeks. Great. Hey, by the way, if it was like, and I'm literally typing, if it was a 6-foot oak, and I'm looking up these suppliers who sell porch swings, if it's a oak porch swing, would that be perfect? 6 foot? Yeah, that's just about right. Perfect. Call the supplier. Now we're in the porch swing business. So we set up a porchswing.com. And we're setting these things up as hammocks.com. You know, and our very first tab was hammocks.com. So we had hammocks. Then we had porch swings. Next one, we literally went to Doug's backyard and we're like, oh, there's a bird feeder. Okay? We're now in the bird feeder business. Adirondack chair. Patio furniture. Patio umbrella. All of a sudden, this thing was going on and on and on, and it was clunky and hard to navigate, and had all these dumb tabs on it. Time out. Let's create a platform where people can come to this, buy easy, you know, non-branded, not price-sensitive stuff. And what I mean by that is, and there's no wrong answer. How much do you think a hammock costs? What would you pay? Let's put it this way. What would you pay for a hammock? Anybody? What's the first price that comes to mind?
$100.
100 bucks?
300.
30? Okay, now number two, where, today, if you had to leave here and go find one, where would you go? Perfect answer, by the way.
Hammocks.com.
Physical location, where would you go?
Home Depot maybe?
Perfect. Home Depot, comma, maybe. Right? You wouldn't know. You just don't know. But you would. You'd probably wander around Home Depot. And here's the experience. And this is why we didn't think of this. We were lucky. I got to admit it. But why hammocks.com worked is because you would go to Home Depot and you walk in. Can you find somebody with the apron thing? Hey, where are your hammocks? If you look outside, it's February. We don't sell hammocks in February. Okay, pretend it's June. Where are your hammocks? Back with the patio stuff back here. Okay, you go back there, and they got two kinds. You know, probably a white one, maybe a blue one. And it's either displayed up above, and it's in a box. And so the guy, same guy walks by. You pull the box out. You say, my trees are 9 feet apart. Is this hammock going to work? What's he do? He reads the box to you. Hang on a second. Yeah, let's see, made in China, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. If you don't like it, just bring it back. That's the typical experience for every one of these products. So you don't know what it costs. It's not brand sensitive. You don't walk in and go, I got to have a Nike hammock. Where is it? Where's my Nike hammocks? There aren't any. There's no brands. Hammock styles haven't changed in 2,000 years. So we want an experience where you come to hammocks.com and you say, oh my God, look at all these hammocks. Look at this selection. Look at the prices. Somebody said 30 bucks, so we offer a $30 hammock. Boom. Very first thing you see. That's great. Wow, look at this one over here. There's a $490 hammock. Ooh, let me look at that. That's cool. What's it made of? I wonder if that would work. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. What do they buy? The $30 hammock. We offer 4,320 different SKUs of hammocks. 30 of those are typically the ones that people buy. Look, 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 look. Wow, variety, price, structure, that's great. Okay, give me the rectangular hammock that's white, and that's what people buy. Give them a ton of selection. Have you ever walked into a retail store and felt like it's going out of business? Like there's just not a lot of stuff on the shelves. You can't find anybody to help you. It's not a great experience. We want to just be, boom, like we pick you up, put you in a hammock store. Wow, everything I needed to know about hammocks is here. Plus we make the phone number very readily apparent. I don't get it. Should I get this kind or that kind? Well, where do you live? Georgia. Does it rain a lot there? Yeah, it kind of does. Okay, well you shouldn't get this one, you should get this one. Know your product inside and out, unlike the moccasins that we didn't know. We deliver that service to people. They know everything about it. So we had all of these. We took down all the individual stores. We put up this net shops, we call it. Internet shopping. You can come there. You can find anything that you want. That now has evolved into what is called Hay Needle. So some really smart branding people came up with this. Find everything home. Hay Needle today is about 300 different stores. So when you scroll over, outdoor, we segment it. We built this business, although we didn't start it this way. The data that we've learned from our customers allows us to serve up a lot of this different information. So we make the shopping easier for you. We kind of know what people are looking for. So we still got our hammocks here, but we've got it categorized. Let's see. Again, see this here? This is our most popular one. Island Bay. Doesn't that sound like a great brand? We made that up. But it's something that is our own brand. We have it made for us. It's a $89 price. You save 45%. It's very clear. You know you can go into all of these. Wow, they got fabric, quilted, hand-woven, rope hammocks. Holy smoke. Oh, look at all these stands that they've got. Here's the hammock hanging kits. We still sell them. So, we know that when people are buying something, where they're going to go within this site. So now, when you buy a hammock, we're going to reserve up to you. You know, by the way, people who buy hammocks buy patio furniture. They buy Adirondack chairs. By the way, did you know you needed a hanging kit? It still happens, but it all is automated today. So there's about 300 of these stores. We have about 400 employees. Seasonally, we'll add about another 150 because holidays is super big. And we've got 3 different warehouses around the United States. This time around, when we raise capital, we have two great partners, Insight Venture Partners in New York and Sequoia Capital in California. We didn't want to lose control. We wanted to make sure that this time, if we could take some chips off the table to at least reduce our risk a little bit, we wanted to. Because one thing I wanted to do is bring all of this full circle personally, and is to start this. So this goes really back to, from moccasins to banking to investment banking to starting gift certificates to starting Hay Needle, helping entrepreneurs access capital here in the Midwest to start their companies, e-commerce and internet-related businesses. We started with a $2 million fund initially. We fully invested that. We now have a $15 million fund. And all we do is invest in startup e-commerce internet service companies in the Midwest, from Boulder to Houston, Chicago, Omaha, Lincoln. That's our sweet spot. And why do we do that? And it goes back to, we could never find really the capital we needed to get our companies going at critical times. And so that's kind of a very long introduction to what I'm doing today. I know that you wanted me to open it up for any question and answer. Is that helpful? Okay. Fire away. Just so stimulated, just can't even move.
What's the process for small businesses to come in and pitch to get the money? We're having a quick pitch competition coming up, and so what do they have to do to be able to?
You know, really all they got to do is, let's see if we updated this. That's our team. You know, tell us who you are, where you are, but four really simple things. What's the problem? What is your problem that you're solving? You know, and if it's a problem someone else is already solving, it's dead in the water. But if it's a unique problem that you're solving, tell us about it. Okay? What is the solution? What solution do you have that is different from what's already out there? Who's your team? And why are you guys going to win? I mean, it's kind of that simple. We can determine if there's enough passion and enough knowledge and enough capability pretty quickly. If you say, I'm going to make the next Google, no, you're not. You're not. I'm sorry. You're going to make the next Amazon. You're just not. They're too big, it already is existing, and it's too efficient. But if you do come up with a niche that you say, here's an inefficiency I notice, and here's something we're going to do better, and here's why. Here's why the market needs it. Here's why my team is better than anybody out there, and here's clearly why we're going to win. The passion comes through loud and clear. Does that make sense?
Perfect. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
When you say you don't want to lose control, what do you mean by that?
51%.
Like, how?
So control of the company could rest if someone says, look, we own 51% of your company. You could continue to operate it, but you might lose control. They might say, you know what, I think this is a mistake. I really think we should be in the sock business. I said, well, socks just, I mean, someone's already doing it. Doesn't make sense. We don't want to be in that low margin. Oh, sorry, it's my company. I kind of think we should be in the sock business. That's what I'm talking about. So all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and say, well, it's not my company anymore. I guess I don't get to call the shots. There's oftentimes you can still run the company, you know, owning 10% of the business. You know, and you're the visionary, you're the one making it happen. But if somebody doesn't like what you're doing, you're probably going to be out.
So about how many businesses have you invested in?
With Dundee Venture Capital, we invested in about 10 businesses so far. Yeah. Omaha, Lincoln, Boulder, Houston, and Chicago. Yeah, and they're all startup, you know, e-commerce related companies, you know, that have a clear problem. One company is Mind Mixers. Anybody ever heard of that? So really like these guys. If you go to our roll call, we call it, these are the companies that we've invested in. So Mind Mixer is, so here were two guys that had seen a very clear problem. Communities don't engage like they should with each other, with elected officials, with government, service providers. Town hall meetings. So, in fact, University of Nebraska just put up their own Mind Mixer. Anyway, town hall meetings, typically here's what happens. They say, you know what, we're gonna put up a new library, 15th and R Street. And on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, we're gonna have a town hall. Everyone's invited. We're gonna have a presentation from the mayor, we're gonna have the city council there, we're gonna have the engineering company, and you're all welcome to come and ask questions. And typically 10 people show up. You know, and half of them are a little loony, and the other half are like, you know, there for coffee and to see their neighbors. And the two guys that started this were the guys behind the planning for these meetings. I mean, they would come up with all the analysis and research and the traffic studies and the this and the that, and they were, you know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 costs. And they would leave these meetings and go, this is just so dumb. We got no feedback. You know, we spent all this time. So they said, let's create something online. So what's the problem? People aren't engaging, and the city doesn't really know how people feel about it anyway. Let's put something up. Let's make it easy for people to engage when they want, where they want, how they want. Phone, iPad, you name it. Anytime. Let's put ideas up. What would you think about a roundabout at, you know, 10th and Jackson? Here's why I like it. Here's why I don't like it. Here's some things. Here's the people that communicate more get more points. The ones who get the most points get an award at the end of the month. Lunch with the mayor, ride around with the sheriff, lunch with their favorite professor, whatever it happens to be. But a gamification kind of a thing. So problem, solution, their team is dynamic. Probably one of the best teams I've come across. Just super passionate, run through walls kind of people. And it's very clear why they're going to win. They're in now, they're only a year and a half old, they're in about 285 different cities across the United States. And the cities pay them to put this up. Help us with engagement. Like Engage Omaha, it was the very first site. They've got something like 6,000 registered users. Doesn't sound like a lot, population of 500,000. When you think about it, you know, the average meeting has 10 people in it. These people are on it all the time. What about a bike path? What about this? What about that? Help us. Great example of how it works. One guy was literally standing at, I use that word a lot, it's kind of dumb. I'm going to change that. He was standing at a bus, and he goes, you know, he gets on Mind Mixer, he goes, why is Google Maps not integrated with the bus schedule? And the guy at the transportation department saw it. It's so simple. He contacts Google, he says, how do I do this? Oh, here's the line of code you put in. And in about 30 minutes, they had it done. So the city is like, look at us, we're listening, taking care of it, great idea, good interaction. Citizens are like, oh, my city cares about this. All of a sudden, this now goes down to schools. You know, you think about a school. University of Nebraska has a master plan that they're putting together for campus. What do you want to see? Tell us about it. Here's what we're going to do. If we don't get any feedback, we're probably going to keep moving. Give us ideas. What would you like to see on the campus? Down to a local school. Think about your high school. Down to grade schools, churches, neighborhood associations, down to your street. We've got some that have just put up streets. Our street, there's stuff that's going on, party this weekend, ideas, let's share, how do we make it better? So it's just a way to communicate in a very measurable, informed way. Cool idea, smart guys, easy to back. Yeah, you had a question?
Yeah, going back to the kind of the control issue, and I know each business situation has its own unique circumstances, but as a VC, do you look to allow the business to keep its control, or are there some instances where you feel that you need to step in?
Yeah, no, our premise, I mean, it's a great question on control. I mean, our premise is to not control, because I've been on the other side of that desk and lost control. And I just think it's such a demotivating factor to just not have control of your company. So we have no interest in wanting to have control of a company. The most we own of anybody is about 30%. Most of them is 10 to 15. It's about there, yeah.
So then, once this is going, do you have any contact with these guys? Do you ever?
Yeah, I'm pretty involved, or not so much today, but I early on was very involved with them. And not because I wanted to, look at me. I mean, it was, hey, how do we do this? Let's work together to figure out what's the best thing to do. So the mistakes that I made, again, I just would say the more you learn from mistakes, the better. The mistakes that I made, help them avoid. That's it.
Do you guys ever sit in on any boards or anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm on board of this company. There's one called Graphically. They're based in Boulder. Graphically started as iTunes for comic books. So comics, there's a whole culture of people who love reading comics, often online. Then there's another subculture of people as far as the digital aspect, the real graphic novels of people that develop these. I mean, they're pretty amazing. They had no way to upload these and share them with the world. Graphically created that. So now there's a platform across everything from iOS, Android, everything, where you can upload a story that you've written and share it with the world. So I'm on the board of this company. This was a little bit of a pivot. A very creative founder, Miha Baldwin. It's been navigating like this, and all of a sudden it was one of those, this is where we should go. This is what we should offer. And that's how it evolved to what they are today. I don't want to be in the way, though. There's a company in Chicago, Inventables. These guys, there's not a lot that we can do as far as really cool. If you've heard of three-dimensional printing, this guy came up with an idea for this desktop. It's a printer, but what it does is it shapes acrylic into anything that you want. You come up with a design, you plug it into this machine, and it cuts it into the plastic. This used to take weeks, months, and thousands of dollars. Now you can do it on your desktop. It's a classic razor and a blade business. You buy the machine, and then you got to buy the parts, the pieces from these guys. It's a great business model. He's got a rock star list of investors. He's been through a couple of other startups on his own. Not much value we can add there. So we just kind of put some capital in, and we're just riding along for the fun.
I saw Boo Box.
Yeah,
Everyone.
yeah. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah, they're located here.
So they were in California. Husband-wife team who came up with this idea. Again, problem, solution, team, why you're going to win. The problem, they worked in the supplement industry. And they realized that a lot of people don't know what they want in supplements. That they would come into these stores and say, do you got any samples? I just want to try that. Well, yeah, here, try it. Give them a sample, another sample. And Paul and Stephanie said, wait a sec, why don't we box these up, have people pay us for this? We'll ship them a box every month, and they can try 5 to 6 different items. Let us know what they like. And then make it a full e-commerce experience. So when you decide that you like, hey, this was good. I really like that. You come back to the store and you buy it. The thing I really, really like about this is that a lot of these manufacturers give them this stuff. Just here, take it. Get it in everybody's hands that you can. Because the more samples that people try, the better. So it's free. So they're boxing this stuff up, and they're shipping it, and they're getting paid by the consumer for that. Pretty cool model. Yeah, so they moved from California here to Lincoln. Really like them. Super motivating.
Great.
Yeah, aren't they? They're just really engaging. You just know whatever they're going to do, it's probably going to succeed. Yeah, so it was pretty easy to back them. Any questions on any of these other companies that you want me to walk through? I'd be happy to.
Thanks.
This guy came up with an idea. He had been at in the restaurant business, and he had come up with an idea that organically grown, naturally raised beef was really tough for restaurant owners to buy. I didn't realize it. A lot of restaurant owners have to go through certain supply chain. But when it comes to organic, pasture-raised meats, something that's really high grade, there's just not a lot of channels. He's come up with a way to do that. And through this site, it's going to go right from the farm right to the restaurant. So you don't go through 4 different channels of supply. Again, problem, solution, amazing team. They're based in Kansas City, actually. But amazing team. It'd be fun for you guys just to spend 10 minutes talking to this guy. He's phenomenal.
So since you, your business is mostly online business, or it is an online business, what would you recommend these days for students as far as, because brick and mortar is what we think of when we think of a lot of businesses, and now we're seeing so many online, and now it's all about the app world and coming up with an app for things. What do you recommend as far as the direction to go with it? If they do have a solution to a problem, brick and mortar costs so much.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, the thing is, you can test an idea a lot cheaper today than you could 5 years ago, 2 years ago. It's super, super inexpensive. I mean, for us to put up our first site used to take, each one of those sites would take a couple months to build, and a lot of money. Today, you could do that in 48 hours. So if you've never heard of Yahoo Store platform, if you've got an idea for a business, you could go to Yahoo has about 4,000 different templates for a Yahoo Store platform. You could be in business tomorrow. And then it becomes, how do I test it? How do I know people like this? Do I have the money to really get out on Google and test this thing? And the kiss of death is that Google really likes it. People use Google and oh my God, this is fantastic. But it also can be a curse, because if you're too reliant upon Google, it's very expensive. You guys know what I mean? I mean, are you familiar with AdWords and how all that stuff works? I mean, I don't want to sound too. Let's see. Let's go. Wow. So if you start out here and you're looking for somebody, just holler at us something that you're looking for.
That that is the best website out there. Is Google.
Yeah.
I love their design.
Okay, do you see this? I'm glad this worked, by the way. So we're first. Now, if I click on this, this is November. This will probably cost anywhere from $4 to $5, because we're getting into holiday season. Now, Google used to have only the top 2 listed here. First, second. You see how it's colored? This is the sponsored section. This is the free section. This is organic. When you hear somebody say about organic strategy, what's your organic strategy? This is the free down here. So Google's algorithms also say, okay, this is pretty relevant as well. We want to leapfrog that, and we want to be first. So you can pay for that. And these words, this particular word, is auctioned every second. Every second, 24 hours a day. And if you click on this and it takes you to hammocks, that cost us $5. They don't bill us, by the way. It's credit card. Okay, so now that just delivered, hopefully, a qualified buyer to my site. Now you got to get them to buy. Doesn't mean they're going to buy anything. So this strategy can deliver to you lots and lots and lots, but not necessarily buyers. So the Google site is probably most efficient, but it's expensive. So if you're super reliant on Google to get you customers, it can also cost you a lot of money. We've seen competitors come and go. Like these guys. I mean, we may drop out for a day just to see what happens. And competitors like in the early days, outdoor living showroom. The 2 of us might disappear, and outdoor living showroom might not be paying attention, and they might be listed first. And they could wake up and say, my God, we sold 5 hammocks, this is awesome. and then they look at their Google statement, and it cost them $600. Like, wait a second, what's going on here? That's stupid, we're out of here. Happens all the time. If you're not paying attention, you know, it's something that happens quite frequently. Questions?
You might tell them about some of your business ideas,
The what?
their business ideas that they have,
Yeah.
that they're working on. I think you might be interested in hearing what they're working on. So volunteer. Whoever, leaders step up.
Yeah.
Sustainability consulting.
Sustainability consulting, so like natural resources sustainability, you mean? Or?
More like with humans and not doing stuff with like the water, natural resources, that kind of stuff, but more with like people's homes or events or businesses or stuff that are wanting to be more, like businesses that are wanting to be more competitive. That kind of stuff.
So you go in and analyze current usage and then say, look, here's where you can improve, and how do you get paid?
They pay for the services.
Hourly or on savings?
Like, we probably package service deals, but we put together an assessment of like, these are the things you can do, this is how much it's costs, and then maybe try and work with other businesses and stuff, like if we need to outsource, like, okay, you're wanting to be more energy efficient, and here's what you can do, here's what's gonna cost you, LES can help you with that, or.
So power, everything, top to bottom? No, that's probably, I bet manufacturing
Materials.
companies,
Hmm?
manufacturing companies,
Sure.
anybody,
Yeah.
but not consumers.
Mm,
Because quite frankly, I wouldn't know if I'm wasting water or not. It might be good to know. Would I
Yeah.
pay you for that?
yeah,
But I bet a business that uses tons and tons of water,
yeah.
you know, heating, air conditioning, should you turn it off? Should you, I mean,
Mhm.
I imagine somebody would pay you for savings too.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, just, you know, okay, you
Yeah.
spent the last 3 years, it cost you this, this, and this. Costs are going up. We think by, and then you make recommendations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Somebody's doing that today, I would imagine, though, right?
Not in this area.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, really popular on the coasts. So just because, people
Scarce
are paying,
resources, right.
people are paying a lot of money for that, for consulting services. People are
Right.
making 6 figures on the coast, but it's just
Right.
not,
Good for you, that's
not much
cool.
in the
Yeah.
Midwest.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody doing it, so that's great. That's a great idea. Would you focus then on the Midwest instead of
Yes.
trying to compete? Yeah,
Yep, but if it grows, it grows.
right,
But probably just Midwest.
right.
Probably, start in Lincoln or just.
How do you get the
area
word
can
out?
be. Website, advertising, kind of maybe going into businesses, just being like, hey, here's some services, have you thought about these things? Here's my card, kind of thing.
Mhm. Speaking, you gotta have some hook. Like, why are you an expert? Type of thing.
Yeah.
Show me. That's cool. Good. Yes.
I want to know how many warehouses you own.
We don't own any real estate, so we lease because we're notoriously bad at space planning. To be frank there, we've been really bad at figuring out how much we need. But we have a warehouse in Omaha, which is about 100,000 feet. We've got one in just outside of Cincinnati, which is about 600,000. And then we're looking to go to Reno with another one, which will be about somewhere in between. So key is having the ability to add on as we need to and have that flexibility. Interesting, 2/3 of the United States population that you need to reach, roughly 2/3, is within about a 3-hour drive to Cincinnati. I didn't know that until about 2 years ago, so. But if you're located there, you go in, you'll see that's why FedEx and UPS and virtually everybody has some pretty major hubs located in Kentucky and Ohio. So, and we inventory about half the stuff that we sell. So some of it we still do drop ship from manufacturers.
What's your idea?
Hmm?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I had an idea for a suit company it started out as for like the traveling businessmen to have suits in their hotel rooms. By the time they arrive, so you won't have to deal with wrinkles in your suits.
Right.
Traveling like that, so that was my problem. And then the solution was to partner with hotels or on their websites to advertise and to have a press and cleaning service, and then distribute those suits out so they'd be ready in their hotel room.
Oh, so it'd be the hotel suits?
No, it would be like suits through me. I'd have a designer or something, but it would be rentable suits, so they would go on to a .com and have a profile with their measurements and everything, and they'd be tailored to their measurements and then put into their room by the time you get there.
And that's a big problem as far as wrinkling suits, so they would want to have something like that?
Yeah, and you don't have to travel with them and stuff. And then kind of a niche-wise, I thought to start out, you could start out with Big Ten universities and go to athletes, because if you look at the football team when they travel, they're all college kids who don't want to travel with all that crap, but at the same time they have to wear suits on like Friday nights in hotels before games and stuff.
Yeah, like the tuxedo guys.
Yeah.
I mean, not many people own tuxedos, but
And then you would have an account, and you would, like, if you rented something, you could have the option of liking it or the option to buy it. It's kind of my vision going from that. But if I was to distribute something like that, how do you ship your product?
well, you got to go with a supplier who's going to help you with that, and you got to just get one hotel to try it. You know, so instead of investing in a bunch of suits and a bunch of fabric and a bunch of tailoring, I think you got to just test the market. You know, and get with someone who's willing to do it, and you're probably gonna have to do it on your nickel, not theirs. Just let me try this. You guys market it. Let's do it together. Because, you know, the old theory, you just drop the rock in the water and grow that way. I think you could find, it might not just be suits, it could be other things, or forgotten items, or, you know, stuff like that, and just see how it evolves versus just saying, this is it. So determine the demand first. You know, the shipping piece, always easy to figure out. The logistics, you can always figure it out. It's whether there's a market for the idea.
And how would you do that? Just partner with hotels or
Yeah.
possess that?
I tried here in town just to see. I mean, you know, go to the Cornhusker and just say, here's an idea. Why don't we try this? You know, they may, I'm sure they haven't thought of it. You know, and everybody's looking for an edge, some way to get deeper engagement with their customers, and so if this is one thing they can offer, worth trying.
And no one does it actually.
Yeah.
I've done research on that.
Yeah, so you got to just see if there's demand for it. I mean, do you do it? Does it happen once? Does it happen 25 times a month? You know, because then you can walk down the street and say, well, I'm doing this with the Cornhusker, and they've, you know, it's happened 10 times. And here's the revenue model. Here's what we did. You guys can offer it to them, or you can sell it. You know, I can provide it. It could be just a marketing cost. And that hotel said, oh God, Cornhusker's doing it. Maybe we should try it. Then you get in with a chain. Say, okay, Hampton Inn, we're going to try it with you guys. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I just think don't ever let logistics be the thing that drives the business model, because I think that's stuff you can figure out. I'm not sure we're the best at shipping and handling and stuff. There's other companies that are. It's what's the demand, how do we price it, will people continue to buy, and how do we know? And, you know, create that marketplace. Because if somebody arrives at the hotel and says, hey, by the way, we got this service. I want you guys to know about it. Here's a little brochure on it. Ah, that's pretty cool.
And then how did you price your product? Because like you asked us at the beginning of class, what you would pay for a certain hammock. I mean, how did you, when you started out, how did you price your hammocks, or how did you know what to price them? Besides
Yeah,
just
we priced it based on, we looked at competition, first of all. And then we realized people aren't really price sensitive to it. So we don't want to have to price these things to say, you know, we're going to beat the price by $1. You know, we just frankly didn't care. What we wanted to do is provide a great experience. And we realized there's going to be always somebody who's going to shop and say, oh, well, I can get this for $5 cheaper here, $10 cheaper there. You know, we will never be able to compete with Amazon on price. Just never. You know, but we can compete on selection and on service and on upsell and on detail to gifts, stuff like that. So, you know, we just said, all right, we're gonna price this to have us close to a margin of some percent, and that's where we started. Some items were lower, some items were higher. But we're on some items, we're super affordable. We source a lot of our hammocks ourselves. So on this site, it'd be tough for anybody to really beat us. But on other items, we just don't care. You know, we'll be competitive, but not like, you know, always trying to kill people on price. It's just not one of our deals. We did go to Walmart, had some conversations with them early on. So why don't we sell through Walmart.com? And I'll never forget this guy. He goes, you know, the whole hammock industry, you guys, it's only $100 million a year. We just don't care. It's just not that big a deal to us. I said, wait a second. I wonder if they feel that way about these other things. So, you know, if you could do a couple $1 million in each one of these stores, that's what we call them, stores, and you aggregate all that, that's a pretty good business. Individually, it might not be that exciting to some people, but, you know, every one of those is kind of small and fragmented.
Questions about, how about local landlords, about what you're doing?
Mine isn't so much tech-based, I suppose, but mine's more just property management company. And I guess part of it is tech in that a lot of the property management companies now don't include any technology. You know, they don't even have Facebook pages. Where I wanted to make a company, you know, you keep the customer for the life of the customer. You know, so you'll help them rent an apartment when they get out of high school, buy a house when they get a house, you know, stuff like that. And so we'd have Facebook page to get to a market that, you know, these companies aren't even looking at. And we have apps, you know, if a place they were on a wait list, you know, the app would send it to their phone, you know, your apartment just became available, stuff like that.
So you would build pretty much a lifetime relationship with that customer.
Yeah, I mean, property management companies now, they're so impersonal.
Right.
You know, my tenants, I had a tenant that just moved out. They bought a house, you know. I'm getting my license in January, but so if I had my license, I would have been able to help them buy their house. You know,
Right.
they love me as a landlord. It's just a great progression, you know.
Yeah, I think what we've noticed in that whole space is the lack of creativity and I guess technology that's been applied to that. I don't know if they're live, but you might want to take a look at this company. So we're looking at these guys, possibly investing in them. They came up with this. It started with augmented reality. You take your iPad, and no matter where you are in a neighborhood, you know, you show them the house, and they come out and they go, that was kind of cool, but what else is available around here? And typically it's a printout, right? Or it's the MLS listing. You know, let's see, we got one down the corner. I'll go look at it. Got to make an appointment. Got to do this. You hold this thing up, and it's got a virtual tour of the house on the spot. Pretty cool. You know, so you don't have to. And it says the pricing. You know, who's looked at it, any offers. You know, all this data that allows you to service that customer a little bit better. You know, so I mean, to us, that seems like it's an industry that's kind of ripe for a little bit of disruption on that. Everybody's got access to the MLS, right? The multiple listing service. You get access, and you can see what's available. You just don't know what's it look like. You know, walk me through the house. How does it compare to the one I just went through? You know, what are the taxes? What are the issues? Has it been inspected? You know, make it a real-time decision. Anytime you can come up with something that's a little bit more of an improvement on what's out there, I think you're going to win. That's the biggest decision a lot of people make, isn't it? Besides maybe getting married or something. I mean, buying a house, it's a pretty big deal.
time for one more. Which you can tell them about. Shy they are.
Don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to start something. Particularly in this job market, a lot of you aren't going to have choice.
How about, why don't you tell them about your move?
Mobile app. We were thinking, like, for youth sports teams, they, one way to raise money for their team, or essentially pay for their season, I guess, is through, like, selling coupons.
Mhm.
And, I guess Mickey's not here, but he knows a guy that actually makes the coupon packets and sells them in a physical hard copy. We were thinking of taking that and putting on a mobile application, so you don't have someone that forgets their coupon in their car or at home. You can take it right into the business and you can use it there. And then for those individuals that don't have a smartphone or something like that, you go online, set up an account, and then if you needed to, you could use the computer within the business that's offering.
Right, they can print it out for you, or you can have, yeah. Yeah, that's a clunky industry. You know, I think there's been a lot of people trying to improve on it. Anything you can do to both track, you know, have somebody come in and just say, here's this, and that a portion of that goes to my son's soccer team, that'd be pretty slick. You know, tracking, I mean, again, the data that you build on that stuff is probably as valuable as the product itself. Because the merchant that uses it wants to know who's using the coupons. Are we getting any redemptions? Does anybody care? I mean, have you all followed Groupon? You know, I mean, there's been great success, and then all of a sudden it's like, God, I don't need my teeth whitened anymore. Stop. You know, we don't need those things. But you know, if you can segment it and focus it, and truly make it mobile, and then that merchant says, "This is valuable to me. I want more." You know, I'll pay more to have that, to know and really segment, and then to be able to turn around and market to that customer. Wow, that'd be pretty valuable. Where do you guys get technology help for that? Do you do the programming?
No, I wouldn't. No way, no how.
We have, and that's what we're trying to do more of, and that is do partnering with students who are computer programmers
Right.
and who know how to do the coding and all of that sort of thing. And we're working more with the engineering student, you know, so we're utilizing the connections that they have right here.
Yeah, because when you get a good sales and a good tech co-founding team, it's pretty dynamic.
And you can really
Yeah,
pull that together.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to shut that down.